Imagine walking into class on your very first day, nervous, clutching your books tightly, just wanting to blend in and find a little corner of peace. That's exactly how Alina felt when she stepped into her new school, her heart racing, her palms damp. She was the new girl, the daughter of a hard-working single mother who had struggled just to get her into this prestigious academy. Alina wasn't here to make trouble, she was here to learn, to build her future, and to finally give her mother the life she deserved. But what she didn't know was that her very first seat in class would become the start of a story no one in that school would ever forget. As she entered, she spotted a seat near the middle row, not too far in the front where all eyes would be on her, but not in the very back either where whispers often ruled the day. It felt safe, balanced, like a place where she could simply disappear into her books. She sat down quietly, placed her notebook on the desk, and exhaled, relieved. But only seconds later, she heard a sharp voice behind her, dripping with arrogance. "You're in my seat." She turned around to see Ayan, the son of a wealthy businessman who practically owned half the city. Everyone knew him, not just because of his father's power, but because of the way he carried himself, untouchable, proud, and entitled. His friends lingered behind him, smirking, waiting for the drama they knew was coming. Alina hesitated, unsure how to respond. "Oh, I didn't know this seat belonged to anyone. I'll just..." But before she could finish, he cut her off. "Of course it does. Everyone knows this is mine. So move." The classroom went silent. Whispers rose from corners. Some were curious, some were amused, and a few were pitying. They knew how Ayan treated people who didn't obey him. Yet Alina, though her voice trembled, didn't move right away. She looked at him, really looked, and in her eyes was something no one had dared show him before, quiet defiance. "I don't see your name on it," she replied softly, yet firmly. The words struck harder than anyone expected. Ayan's smirk faded. His friends chuckled nervously, not used to someone challenging him, especially not a girl from a modest background who had just walked into their world. Ayan leaned closer, trying to intimidate her, but Alina stayed rooted, her hands gripping her notebook tightly, her jaw set. The tension grew so thick that even the teacher, who had just entered, paused by the door, watching the scene unfold. Everyone held their breath. Would Alina break down? Would she move? Or would Ayan humiliate her further? And then it happened. Ayan pulled out the chair roughly, as if to force her out, but Alina stood before he could. Her voice rang out, steady this time, echoing across the stunned classroom. "If your pride depends on a chair, then take it. But don't think you can push me around. Not today. Not ever." For a moment, silence. No one moved. No one spoke. It was as if the entire class had frozen in disbelief at her courage. Even Ayan's hand, still gripping the chair, loosened. Something flickered in his eyes, confusion, maybe even respect, emotions he wasn't used to feeling when someone talked back to him. The teacher finally stepped forward, breaking the tension. "Enough," she said sharply. "Seats don't belong to anyone. This is a classroom, not a kingdom. Both of you, sit down." Alina quietly moved to another desk, her heart pounding, but her dignity intact. Ayan slumped into his so-called seat, but for the first time, he didn't look victorious. His friends no longer laughed, instead, they watched him, realizing a new balance had been struck. In the weeks that followed, something strange happened. Ayan began noticing Alina more. He saw her, staying after class, asking questions, determined to learn. He saw her helping other students without hesitation, offering kindness without expecting anything in return. And slowly, he began to realize that respect wasn't something that money or fear could buy, it was something earned. One afternoon, when the teacher paired them up for a project, Ayan groaned at first, but as the days passed, he found himself listening to her ideas, actually respecting her intelligence. The arrogance that once defined him began to chip away. Alina, in her quiet resilience, was teaching him something his wealth never could: humility, courage, and the power of standing up not just for yourself, but for what is right. By the end of the semester, the same boy who once demanded a seat in class was saving a chair for her, not because it was his, but because he finally understood what friendship, respect, and true strength meant. And Alina, she had unknowingly changed not just her own life, but his as well, leaving a lesson that rippled through everyone who had witnessed that very first day. So, if you were holding your breath back then, Just like that classroom did, maybe now you can exhale and realize something powerful. Sometimes it only takes one act of courage, one refusal to be silenced, to shift the entire course of someone's story. If you felt the power of Alina's stand, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel, because more inspiring stories are waiting just for you. Stories that remind us that even in the smallest moments, greatness can rise. Would you have stood your ground in her place? Think about it.